Join Marty Johnson, the holistic health practitioner and founder of Total Health Nutrition Center in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, as he delivers these podcasts to enlighten you and give you hope that there are health solutions to conditions that seem difficult to resolve, or even better answers than a medical approach of prescribing a chemical drug, which most times is nothing more than a Band-Aid fix, rather than getting to the root cause of your problem. The mission of the Total Health podcast is to provide the education and support that will lead to transforming people's healths so they can live a much more efficient, productive, and happier life the way God intended it to be. Join him now for his latest podcast.
Okay, today we're going to talk a little bit about CBD oil and cannabis, and a little bit about how it affects what is called the endocannabinoid system, which is really a system that is in your body and pretty much regulates a lot of different things. So in order to understand the endocannabinoid system, first, I guess we'll just mention what the name comes from and go from there. So basically the endocannabinoid system, or endocannabinoid, simply means cannabis-like substance that naturally occurs inside of us. And the endocannabinoid system itself is made up of three different parts. The first part is endocannabinoids. So there's substances called endocannabinoids. And then the second part is receptors in the nervous system and around your body that endocannabinoids and cannabinoids, so these are two different types of substances, bond with to stimulate a response. So receptors are kind of like little docking stations that cannabinoids can attach onto and then create a response. And then also the third part of the endocannabinoid system is enzymes that help break down the endocannabinoids and cannabinoids so they can clear out from the receptors after it has been made its impact. Okay, so I know that sounds a little confusing, but that's in a nutshell what makes up this whole system within our bodies called the endocannabinoid system. So not only is endocannabinoid system a natural part of our bodies, it's actually a very crucial one. To understand further this system, it first helps to understand what homeostasis is. So homeostasis is actually your body's efforts to keep everything in the right balance. So your body will try to do everything it can to keep internal environmental stable balance, no matter what's going on in the environment around you. So when something is operating outside of the right range, your body activates the endocannabinoid system to correct it. So like if you're overheated and begin to start sweating, then your endocannabinoid system will kick in to create other issues to cool down. Basically, the sweating is actually one of the mechanisms to cool down, just like a radiator is evaporating off your skin to cool you down. Or if you're hungry and your stomach starts growling, your endocannabinoid system is is involved in actually reminding you that it's time to eat or you need more fuel. So this is really, the endocannabinoid system does this through these receptors, they're called, and they really are found in select tissues. So we have at least two different types of what's called cannabinoid receptors. The first cannabinoid receptor is called CB1 receptor, and which is this, basically these receptors are on the central nervous system, the brain, and nerves of the spinal cord. And this particular receptor is what recognizes THC, from either the marijuana plant or even in over-the-counter products that are legal. The CBD products that you hear about, they're all over the place, have or are able to have a legal amount of 0.03% THC in them. But there's a lot of factors which we'll talk about to make sure that you're getting a quality product over the counter in that respect. The other receptor is CB2 receptor, which is in the nerves of the extremities, the digestive system, and specialized cells in the immune system. It's called the macrophage of the immune system. It's kind of like the Pac-Man of your immune system that goes around and eats up other things that shouldn't be there. So there's receptors for CB2 receptors actually on the macrophage of the immune system, and that's why it's very good. So CBD actually plugs into the CB2 receptor, and it's very good for the immune function and digestion because these receptors are along these different areas. So from the standpoint of these receptors, those are an important factor to understand, and exactly why the CBD type of products have many, many different benefits in the body, because this endocannabinoid system is widespread, and these receptors are all over the body that recognize the cannabinoids from the hemp plant or the marijuana plant. The products that are actually legal over the counter are actually from certain parts of the hemp plant that does not include the flowering buds, which is more what the marijuana is from. So different things that CBD or full spectrum hemp products can help with, because of all these receptors around the body, they'll have effects on relaxation, metabolism, sleep, memory, reproductive fertility, motor control, temperature regulation, like I kind of mentioned before, digestion, appetite, immune function. They're very good inflammatory regulators to reduce inflammation, good for mood, pain, and pleasure type of, reward type of symptoms, meaning that more psychosomatic symptoms in that respect. So when it comes to making sure that we have proper regulation in the body, the beautiful thing about the endocannabinoid system is that it really activates with precision so that it impacts only what is needed. So for example, if your reproductive system or if your reproductive hormones are out of whack, it will work to regulate them without altering your digestion or your immune system. So the body, that's what we call homeostasis. The body is actually, it's targeting what it really needs, and it's not going to just affect everything if it doesn't need it. Endocannabinoid tone or balance is influenced by multiple external factors. So the thing that can happen is that external factors like physical activity, stress, eating the right balance of a diet, like a diet that's rich in the macronutrients, the healthy fats, micronutrients, phytonutrients from whole food, from whole unadulterated foods. These are all factors that affect the endocannabinoid system, and when there is a deficiency in eating the right balance of foods, or stress is really high over time, and there's a lack of exercise, this whole endocannabinoid system within your body can suffer and start to work not as effectively, which impacts a whole cascade of things. Your whole body doesn't balance as well as far as the homeostasis we mentioned. So that's where the products that you see on the market can really come into play, and that's why there's so much research being done right now on what we know of as CBD type of products and so forth. But as a clinic and as a overall retail store and clinic, we've been very, very careful to look into this whole topic of CBD and CBD products, and really have developed kind of a criteria or a list of things that we look for that must be in place for us to really carry a product to make sure that it's actually going to be the best from the standpoint for our clinical applications. We have many people using this type of product for serious conditions like autoimmune conditions like Crohn's and colitis, to helping people with immune deficiencies, as well as just anxiety and things of that nature. So really, this is the hit list that I want to give to you that may help you to get a better understanding of what to look for in a product like this, like a CBD product. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of products out there. There's shops popping up all over the place that really may not be able to answer to this criteria. So you just don't know what you're getting. You don't know if you're getting a chemical-laden product that could actually be creating more imbalance to the endocrine system. Even though it might give you temporary relief, it might be creating imbalance down the road. So the criteria is that first of all, we prefer that it's organic, because it's a heavily sprayed, hemp is a heavily sprayed commodity potentially. So we always look for organic. And basically, we want to make sure that the person or the manufacturer that we're working with actually controls the product from seed to bottle, meaning that they're controlling the growing process from the seed all the way till they process it and produce it in their own plant and bottle it. We like it to be extracted, so when they extract the components from the plant, some companies can use chemicals to actually extract it and get those components or the cannabinoids out of the plant. Well, we like to make sure that the products we're working with are extracted with non-toxic chemicals, and they must be free from overall toxins such as chemicals, heavy metals, and that needs to be proven by an independent laboratory analysis. So an independent lab assay is where they're using a lab that's not connected to their facility at all, so that way there's no bias. And we ask for these labs, and we look at the labs to make sure that these things are being done the way they should. It must be full spectrum, meaning that it has all of the phytonutrients, the natural oils, and bioactive phytochemicals and metabolites that nurture the endocannabinoid system. And we like this to be proven by an independent laboratory analysis. And it also must contain some THC as proven by lab analysis. So like I had said, the legal limit over the counter is less than 0.03. But it's important that it's there because we still want it to plug into that CB1 receptor like I had mentioned. Okay? So the last particular one is that it must be medical grade. And what I mean by that is medical grade is where the processing of the substance is all done in manufacturing plant that follows the FDA pharmaceutical requirements. So that way you know you're getting a clean product and the manufacturing itself is being done correctly. And these are all things that we can look for. Matter of fact, if we can help it, we will actually visit the lab and visit the plant so that we can see that they're doing the right things and so forth. So if a retailer or online store cannot answer to these criteria or actually prove it by a laboratory analysis that they can show you, then you're kind of flying in the wind, really, with wondering if you're getting a product that's actually creating more problems for you down the line, or the product that you purchase could work for a while, but the effectivity may not work in your body over the longer haul. The last point that I would like to make that I feel is very enlightening is the role that different healthy fats in your diet can play on this whole endocannabinoid system. So there's fats called polyunsaturated fatty acids, and we sometimes will kind of refer to them as PUFAs. And basically, the polyunsaturated fatty acids are precursors and balancers to regulate the endocannabinoid system. So your God-given endocannabinoid system actually is regulated and fed by these fatty acids and other micronutrients in your diet. So it's not just reliant on CBD products to drive this system. So from these fats, these fats actually bind to the the CB2 receptors, which is what CBD actually binds to. These fats bind to those and actually stimulate an effect, just like the hemp products do. So the PUFAs are a key step in maintaining the health of this system and key to how effective your CBD oil will work. So if you do not have enough of these fatty acids in your body, your CBD products will work less effectively, which is very eye-opening. There's two different types of these polyunsaturated fatty acids, omega-3 and omega-6. You might have heard of those before. They're very common. Unfortunately, the American diet tends to be very, very heavy or top-heavy in the omega-6 fatty acids, and basically excessive consumption of different foods containing these fats tend to be an issue in America, where the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 in the body tends to be way out of balance, which actually can drive more inflammation when that omega-6 is so much higher than omega-3. And different oils such as corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil, soy oil, and peanut oil are all sources of omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids are much more likely to be deficient, as I kind of alluded to. Different studies are showing that it's estimated that only 2% of the population in America has adequate omega-3 fatty acid levels. So foods like fish, flaxseed, chia seeds, walnuts have good levels of omega-3, but oftentimes aren't eaten in enough quantities to really get those levels up. So what we found is that when we get these omega-3 levels up high enough, then the natural anti-inflammatory process in the body actually kicks in. The endocannabinoid system works better on its own, and the CBD products that many people are taking will work much, much better because of having that element there. So we feel so strongly about this, and the research is so strong about it, that we've actually we kind of developed a working relationship with a lab that basically can be done. It's a lab test that can be done at home. So people can actually just pick up the kit from us. It's a $60 lab kit, so it's extremely cost effective. And this particular lab kit will show us, once the testing has been done in the lab, if your omega-3 blood saturation is at the levels that are ideal. So it's actually can be quite eye-opening. I myself try to eat healthy and try to do the best I can with my diet. When I did this particular test, a lot of times I like to be able to just see how the test goes and how it tests on my body before I recommend it to other people. And that was actually at closer to 4% saturation, and ideal is between 8 and 12%. So it really opened my eyes. I started, taking a lot more supplemental omega-3 fatty acids to get my levels up, even because the brain needs these fats to function ideal, not to mention your whole nervous system and the endocannabinoid system. So there you have it. That's hopefully some eye-opening and interesting information for you on hemp, CBD, THC, and the endocannabinoid system. If this is of interest to you and you want to learn more, certainly we have periodic seminars that we'll do. So if you're local, you can go to our website and look for upcoming seminars that we do live, or certainly you can call us or email us with further questions, or even if you're interested in some of the products that we carry that follow all these criteria, certainly can call or email us, or even order this lab test so that you can understand and get an idea of where your omega-3 fatty acids are. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for joining us today on the Total Health Podcast. If you'd like more information about how Total Health can transform your health, check them out. They would love to set up a free consultation with you over the phone. Call them at 262-251-2929 to make that appointment. Otherwise, you can check them out on the web at www.totalhealthinc.com.